Hello, good evening.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Perfect. So it's right on the dot. So we'll go ahead and get started. We do have a special guest that I will introduce in just a moment. But before we get started, Evelyn, do you have any tickets or any issues that currently you want to address or discuss?
Actually, the only thing that we're seeing is, a lot of people are still asking for that marketing document that we went over a couple of weeks ago. So I think if you guys should check your back office, it should be up there right now. You guys can find it under training and documents, and you should be able to find it.
Perfect.
And
And
outside
those
of
are
that,
the flyers, correct?
yes, it is. And outside of that is the other thing is, some people are still asking that they're not seeing the referral code on the links that, they're sending. And as Shanna has mentioned, it's actually a shortened code now, so you won't see it. The people that you're sending it to, those codes are actually embedded into the application form when they do download the app from the App Store or the Google Store.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, that was a pretty uneventful weekend if that's all we had. So that's great. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see here. So what we'll do today is we will talk about how to grow your driver network. So for weeks and weeks and weeks now, we've been talking about how to sign restaurants. Now we'll talk a little bit about how to grow driver networks and how to sign drivers. Tips and tricks, upcoming trainings, and questions, comments, concerns. So we do have a special guest tonight. I'm going to unmute him now. So Steve Matthews from Blue Nation, which is a team of really amazing drivers and marketers, have come up with some really great things and put some really great things into place on how to grow driver networks. So we're going to hear from Steve now. He's going to talk about two specific things that they have been doing. And then I'm going to follow it up with some additional things that I know his team does. But we really want to dive into these first two topics because they are really, really great. And they really will put you in front of a lot of people in a very limited amount of time and resources. So Steve, are you with us? Hey, Steve. Steve?
Steve, are you on mute?
I'm seeing he's not on mute.
So while we are figuring Steve's technical issues out, not to forget everyone, we are opening Nashville next week. So let's get excited and let your friends know. If you have relatives in Nashville, friends in Nashville, just let them all know that we're opening up in Nashville next week.
Perfect. Well, until Steve figures out his audio issue, I'll skip forward to some things I know they're doing. So their team in general are doing some really amazing things. They're doing Craigslist ads. So Craigslist ads are always free. You can post those, you can give a little bit of information and go from there. You also can create a Facebook group. So don't just make it a stagnant group, add value, interact often. Make sure that you also find local Facebook groups for drivers. So not only local Facebook groups, but also driver groups. On Facebook, everything is totally searchable. So you would search, side hustle drivers or a variety of different key terms that work well for gig drivers and search those. You can find national ones, you can find regional ones, you can find local ones. Place ads in there, start interacting, add value, start talking to other drivers. Another great tip was to find a featured restaurant on a competitor site. So one of the more popular restaurants that you know are getting a ton of deliveries, go outside of there, hang out, meet drivers. So you see somebody coming out, you see somebody going in, they typically have a hot bag with them. So you're going to know, typically you'll see the Uber sign in there on their car. So you're going to know who the drivers are. Talk to them, give them a card. I know they're going to be coming in to get food or going out with hot food. So you probably can't talk to them for very long. You definitely could hand them a flyer. You could give them a card. You could ask for them to call you. You can also make ads on Facebook that are be your own boss, which are really cool. Another thing they do is they do LinkedIn ads, and they're getting great results through those LinkedIn ads. You can also look for drivers on LinkedIn, and you can ask around. So ask, your neighbor, your friends, people you run into the grocery store, really anyone. Are you an Uber driver? Are you a Lyft driver? Are you a gig driver? And then hand them a flyer, hand them a card. Finding these people and getting to speak to them and building your network is truly on you. These people aren't going to come to you. You really are going to have to show them how we're different and how they're able to keep 100% of the tips and 100% of the rides and all of those things. So it definitely is a very different model. And I think that you guys definitely believe in it. Otherwise you, wouldn't be here. But I definitely think that other people will very much enjoy it as well. It's just a matter of where you can find them. And these are some, 6 or 7 really great places and really great key things to do. Evelyn, do we have any questions or comments so far?
Just kidding, I was on mute. No, we do not have any questions yet so far.
Okay, perfect. And it looks like Steve is having some technical issues. I'm going to try calling him from my phone and putting him on speaker and see if that works. Evelyn, if you hear tons of feedback, just tell me. So I'm just going to mute for one quick second.
Perfect. Do you guys have any questions for us, for any of our YouTube team members who are on YouTube right now? Do you guys have any questions that you want answered? Hello, Jim from Sarasota. We also have Mike. Hi, Mike. Hi, Coyette. So we are just holding on to try to get Steve on the line.
Steve, are you there? Steve, are you there? Steve.
Yeah, can you hear?
Okay, perfect. Let's try this. Evelyn, can you hear Steve?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So we're going to give it a little mic check, mic check. All right, Steve. So I gave you a really great introduction from the Blue Nation team. I already went over some of the additional things that you guys have been doing, but more specifically, I'd like you to speak about kind of those top 2 things that you and your team are doing, and I'll just kind of turn it over to you.
Okay, so can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good. I'm sorry about that. So we started about 2 months ago. I'm in Tucson, Arizona, and I have a business partner who's in Las Vegas. Her name is Dr. Carol Singh. And we started thinking about how we could, look at getting some drivers in potential large numbers. And one of those was through the colleges throughout the country. So we set up accounts with Handshake. They actually take care of about 2,000 schools in America. So they can put you in connection with those schools as long as you get approved and then your job applications are approved. You can then freely post your jobs and hopefully students will sign up. So what we've done is we've got 6 colleges so far. and we're targeting colleges in certain areas. So we're not just hitting colleges for the sake of hitting colleges. We've got University of California out in Irvine, which is again close to that LA area. We just got Trevecca Nazarene, which is a school that has like 5,000 students in Nashville. That one just got approved, and also the job application as well. We got University of Miami, very significant one. That's got 25,000 kids, students there, along with the University of Irvine as well as 25,000. So we've been working at trying to build up schools so that we can, put those job applications out there to sign up drivers. Now, we haven't got anybody signed up yet, but I did mention this to Shana before. One of the biggest problems we have, all of us right now, is that nobody knows who Trip is. So that's the issue. But we need to put the groundwork in to have that ability when Trip becomes a household name, that we can have these students sign up.
So Steve, I'm going to stop you right there. So just to confirm, the first thing that you're doing is going to handshake.com and you are signing
Correct.
up for an account. Is that account a paid account or is that free?
No, it's a free account. It's a free account.
Perfect. And then once you're approved, then you are picking college by college strategically and getting, and through that college, you basically are placing a job posting on their job boards.
Correct.
Perfect. And then from there, the job posting will route back to your email, and anytime anybody applies, then that application comes through your email.
That's correct. So we had to, there are certain things that you have to go through to set the whole thing up to make sure that it will come back to you. So we just use the Trip links. We have them connected to 2 websites that I built. And those are connected in the job application as well, because they do want to have everything all taken care of in terms of business setup. They're very protective of the students, but hopefully in time, I'm hoping to have at least 25 schools signed up by Christmas or the New Year, and then that you're talking potentially about 200,000 students. So that's a lot of people to.
And can you talk a little bit about how the ad or how the job placement looks? I mean, you obviously wrote the copy for it, correct?
Yeah, I'm probably on about the 5th version of it right now, because there's a lot of things that you have to be careful about with schools, because they don't want to see the word commission. Mm-hmm. They want to see that students can actually earn an income, and obviously they can with Trip. It's not just a little job application to say that come sign up, make this amount of money. So you've got to put it in detail. So I gave them a little history of Trip, and then basically what the job entails. Obviously how to sign up, the different steps. I broke down how much the drivers make, and then of course the big thing about them making they take 100% of the fare and 100% of the tips, and then telling them a little bit of a story about what Trip is doing. So I sort of took a leaf out of a press release type thing and built that into the application, showing that Trip is looking at potentially up to 200 different markets throughout the country over a period of time. Listed those cities as well so that they can physically see it. I went in last week and changed it to say that Nashville is actually opening up on November 9th. And targeted the Trevecca Nazarene School because they're in that area. So you have to be very careful about how you word it. But as long as you are telling them exactly what the job is about, how much you can earn, the potential that you can earn, and you're not basing things on commissions. Or some schools though do have an issue with the $39.99 and the $99.99 because they say their students shouldn't have to pay. So I do send to those schools a brief a script stating why that is paid, and that it's really insignificant compared to what the students could potentially earn over a period of time.
Perfect. And so because this is still fairly new, you don't know the results, but you do know that the amount of people that you can reach is huge. And the worst case scenario is you're out some time, but definitely not a large investment as far as money.
Money-wise, it doesn't cost anything.
Perfect.
Time, I put a lot of time in on it, but I think in time it will work. It's just right now, it's not a great time. I don't even know if the schools have got all their kids back.
Right.
And if they are, right now it's just it's a hit and miss right now. But the groundwork's being done, which is the most important. Perfect. And that will grow. Definitely. And we're doing this. We're doing something in Las Vegas as well. That is going to, help significantly in getting drivers in Nevada. In Nevada.
Perfect.
State Nevada.
So also another neat thing you guys are doing is these foodie groups.
Yeah.
So how do you locate the group?
Okay, we found this group by accident. Carol, my partner, and her husband are from Hawaii. And, I've been showing Carol how to do a lot of social marketing with my background from internet marketing, and showing her a few little things on Facebook. Well, she went doing a little bit of searching and playing about and called me one day and said, I've just found a group on Facebook called the Ninth Islanders Foodies. And they are basically Hawaiian restaurant owned people in Las Vegas. And there's about 200 that we're in the process of contacting. And on November the 12th, we will be having a webinar, and hopefully we'll have 100 plus of those people, if not 200. We'd like to get all 200 onto that webinar, and we'll be talking along with Thomas about Trip and signing up. They already know what Trip has in planned, and they also have they know what the Blue Nation, which is part of Trip, the group we're in, about helping the restaurants in increasing their business. So they are aware of what we're doing. Hopefully Thomas will be on that webinar November 12th. And I plan actually to run a webinar at least once a month, because we have other groups that we're looking at as well. But we're first starting with the Ninth Islander Foodies.
Perfect. And worst case scenario is, even if you don't find drivers, you definitely will find consumers. And we all know that we also make money off of those. Yeah.
I mean, we're just putting a lot of groundwork in right now. I mean, it's not a no-brainer. We've got to put work in, and we've got to be patient. So the work that we're doing is a lot of groundwork for the coming times when things start working. And we want to get Las Vegas is very proactive right now with the restaurants. We've got some great connections, not only with mom and pop stores, but with corporations in Las Vegas. I mean, we have one corporation, I can't say who, but they are going to be signing up with us when Las Vegas is open, and that's a significant number of restaurants that will do that. But was going to be part of that. So if we get these Ninth Island Fooders on board with Trip, one goes to, what is it, the old saying, one speaks to nine. So we're looking forward to that on the 12th of November.
Perfect. Well, I will stop there for a second. Evelyn, are there any questions for Steve?
Yeah, there is. Actually, it's more for you, Shanna. Denny is asking, what is the age for trip deliverers drivers? Is it 18?
It is.
Great. And then we have a message from somebody who has a Galaxy Note 20 Ultra 5G. Is it possible to get Steve's email?
Steve, are you comfortable giving your email out?
Yeah, you can have my email. Yeah.
And what is it?
It's powerchef.trip@gmail.com.
So that's power, POWER, chef, CHEF .trip, and that's TRIP at gmail.com.
That's correct.
Perfect. Steve. Evelyn, any others?
Right now, no, we do not have any other questions. Steve, where are you from originally?
Tucson, Arizona.
Well, I'm originally from the UK, but
That's totally
Very nice.
I've been very fortunate. I've traveled all over the world, and I ended up in America. My wife was American. My kids were born here. So, having worked on cruise ships, sailed all over the place, I finally docked in. I actually docked in Hawaii. That's where and then we moved to California for 20 years, and now here in Tucson for the last 3 years.
Amazing.
Well, thanks again, Steve. I think that the information that you gave is valuable, and hopefully it strikes some ideas with some other people. So we really appreciate it.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Evelyn, I think that was some great information. What about you?
It was amazing. It was really good to hear how we can get more drivers and get everyone signed up. But most of all, I think it's media mileage for us. They're doing a lot of marketing right now, so it's great to get our name out.
Yep. And also, another exciting thing is that we as Trip Delivers have placed Facebook ads looking for drivers in Nashville and in Las Vegas. And you'll know why Las Vegas in just a moment. But we have placed those ads. When we get a response to those ads, we are passing that on to local drivers. So those of you that are super active and in the system and all those great things, will have those leads passed to you, which is great. So with all of the things Steve taught us and all of these additional things here, like LinkedIn ads, Craigslist ads, Facebook groups, driver groups, all of those things. And then just getting out there and talking to people, especially at other restaurants when you see their drivers, are some really great things to be able to increase your driver network. So some tips and tricks. So Nashville launches Monday, November 9th. So a week from today. Las Vegas launches December 3rd. So that's why we're also doing those ads in Vegas because we need additional drivers to keep up with all those restaurants. So I know we've spoke about this a couple of times, but we still are getting a ton of questions regarding Social Security numbers and ITIN numbers. They can both be entered in the Social Security line. If you are using an EIN, that is a separate line that you see here. See right here. Now that is optional, but if you enter an EIN, you still have to enter a Social Security number or an ITIN number. Obviously, all of the earnings will default to the EIN, but you do still have to enter that. So if you're just trying to enter an EIN and you can't figure out why you can't get past it, it's because the Social Security ITIN is not an optional field, only the EIN. Perfect. So upcoming trainings, of course, on Monday and Thursday, 7 p.m. Central, right here. Coffee with Bob on Saturdays. The Social Hotspot with Amanda on Sundays at 10 a.m. Central. She had her first one this Sunday. If you didn't check it out, you should go back to YouTube and watch it. She gave some really great information. And then the first Thursday of the month will be the restaurant pitch. This is where you'll want to invite all your potential prospects. First one happens to be this Thursday, November 5th. Followed by December 3rd. So make sure this Thursday you tune in yourself if you just want more practice on a pitch, or definitely invite your potential prospects. Sorry about that. So Evelyn, are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
We have one from Darius. Is there an annual compliance fee for a merchant account?
What is the fee for credit card processing, or what was the?
I think it's compliance fee. Darius, can you just be more specific, or if you want, you can email us at support@tripdelivers.com. I'm not quite sure if you're asking about a compliance. Do we need to do compliance checks? Or what do you mean by is there an annual compliance fee?
Besides the monthly fee for a driver, there is no annual fee. It is all included in your monthly fee. So hopefully that answers the question. But if you have any further, you can just send it to support@tripdelivers and we'll get it answered for you. It sounds like a pretty one-off question.
And then just to be clear, it's 18 to drive for delivery. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Flawfully yours. Does that answer your question? That it is 18 to drive for delivery. Great stuff. And it looks like there's no more questions.
All right. Well, Evelyn, I'll let you get to it. Thanks everyone for joining. And we will be back here on Thursday for that restaurant pitch. So make sure you send all your potential prospects to the YouTube channel or to this Zoom link here, whichever you prefer. Hope everybody has a great week and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Great. Thanks.
Bye.